Hey, everyone. Tanya Clarke-Marinelli here, investinyourselfcourse.com, and welcome to this extremely special webinar. Today, I have a beautiful guest on. I'm going to introduce her in a minute. But for those of you guys who don't know, I also have a really powerful program, the Empowering Kids Program.com. I'm going to type that into the chat box here, empoweringkidsprogram.com. Check that out. And the Empowering Kids program I created 5 years ago. It's on its 5th year running, and it's all about empowering kids. And we've basically, like, I have a signature system that I created, and it's a 5-step program to teach these kids how to really create confidence from within rather than doing what unfortunately I had to do, and that was to find acceptance and love from outside sources. Well, once I discovered how to do it all on my own, now I created a program that specifically teaches children how to do that on their own, okay? Without any outside sources. Really powerful program. That's why it's been going for 5 years. Now listen to this. Probably the last 2 years, we've transitioned it over to a nature program. And what we found is that even more powerful than this program that I created, it like doubles and triples in effectiveness. Does that even make sense? When you place these kids outside. And what I've decided to do is call in expert Morgan Zaretski to tell us all about nature deficit here in Manitoba and all about her signature system that I really think is extremely important to get out here for anybody out. Like, you got to get your program out there, Morgan. So that's why I wanted to have you on the webinar. So that's what Morgan's going to be talking to us about. She's put together a presentation like just for you guys. And she's also got some goodies that she's going to give away for everybody attending the webinar. And yeah, so without further ado, number one, I want to, if you guys are in the Manitoba area, I want you to check out empoweringkidsprogram.com. If this is something that you think that would benefit your child and it's based all on emotional intelligence, hop on over to my website, get some information on it. There's also free training there all about forest schools and the benefits of it, but it's nothing. It's got nothing on Morgan's presentation. So without further ado, Morgan, I'm going to introduce you. I'm going to invite you, to hop on and introduce yourself.
Okay, cool. There we go. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Tanya, for that awesome introduction. I am Morgan Zaretski, and I'm so glad that everyone is here right now, and for everyone watching the replay, thank you so much for your time. I am Morgan Zaretski, and I am the founder of Nature Essence Personal Wellness Coaching. And I specialize with that practice in helping people cope with stress, anxiety, and depression using a connection with nature. And so right now I do that using my 6-step online 90-day program, and those are the 6 nature steps that I use to get off antidepressants and to learn to love my life. So
powerful.
Yeah, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So some of you watching right now, you might be wondering if you're in the right place. Tanya did an awesome introduction, so I'm sure you're super pumped to hear this. But if you are wondering if you're in the right place, you are if you or someone you're close to even experiences depression, stress, anxiety, or even if you're just going through maybe a period of grief or loss right now, and you or this person that you're really close to, if you're looking for a natural or an alternative way to deal with these emotions, if this is you, you're in the right place. And like Tanya said, I do have some freebie giveaways I'm going to give to everyone for listening. So make sure you stick around right to the end, and we'll tell you what those are. But for right now, I'm going to start my screen share because I got some awesome slides.
I'm excited about this. I know that we briefly went through it, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Okay, I think
People
this is
need
the
to
right
know
one.
this.
Oh, that's not the right one. Go
That's
back.
okay. Gotta love
Okay.
live.
All right. Okay. Hi there. All right. Let me see if I can get this back up here. Take screen share, take 2. Here we go.
Yeah, grief and loss is huge. You know, a little bit later, I'm going to remind you to share with us a really powerful video that you created and posted on your YouTube channel. So later on, I'm going to remind you to share that video with us, and I'll go into it a little bit and then let people know how they can subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, perfect.
So, but for right now, what I really want to talk to people about is nature deficit disorder.
All right.
We're going to talk about what it is, how does it exist, why you should be paying attention, and most importantly, what you can be doing about it. So,
Perfect.
me personally, I've always been a nature lover. I've always felt this deep, really spiritual connection with nature. And even from a really young age, I instinctively knew that the natural world was important and should be valued by everyone, even though I really didn't understand why that was. And today, I can say with 100% confidence that I am the happiest and most content with my life when I'm working with animals and when I'm surrounded by nature. Excuse me. But I have always been this happy and content with my life. So, in my university days, the love of my life dumped me. I was absolutely devastated and I became very, very depressed. I remember feeling like I completely lost my human ability to feel emotions. I felt like my grief was so huge that it had reduced me to a shell of a human being. And to cope, I cut everyone off and I ignored my feelings. I buried them so deep inside me and I threw myself into my schoolwork. And I told myself that I was building a career. And career women don't have time for love, human relationships, family. I was going to work hard, get a great job, and then I'd have everything I needed all on my own. And that was my reality for 2+ years. And eventually, things started to look okay again. I got a new boyfriend, we moved in together, I graduated with my bachelor's of environmental science from the University of Manitoba back in 2013. And I got hired on full-time as a wildlife technician at a consulting company here in Winnipeg. But on the inside, I still felt lost. And now without school as my security blanket, those claws of depression pulled me under again. Thank God I had my boyfriend there. And it was him who pushed me to get help. With his persistence, I finally went to the doctor and I got a prescription for antidepressants and started counseling. Those pharmaceuticals gave me the strength and the clarity I needed to get back to being me. And going to counseling gave me that safe place to talk about how I felt and to learn to understand my emotions. But on top of that, I discovered just how deep my love for nature went and how good I really could feel. And somewhere along this twisting, winding road to recovery, I learned about Edward Wilson's biophilia hypothesis and Richard Booth's nature deficit disorder. I read about research studies from all around the world that showed again and again that being in nature is improving quality of life for people from all walks of life. Nature wasn't just making me feel better, it was making a lot of people feel better. And that's what led me to create Nature Essence and why I feel so passionate about being here today, talking to all of you and sharing this message.
Amazing. Love it. Love it.
Okay, so in 1984, Edward Wilson had a hypothesis. He called it the biophilia hypothesis, which is
Biophilia?
biophilia. So, yeah, Biophilia, biophilia. And that is this idea that because humans live and evolve in natural settings until very recently, we have this innate need to affiliate with other forms of life. Other forms of life like the plants and the animals that you would find in nature. So since that time, this crazy notion that these green spaces are good for something other than filtering water and producing oxygen is growing.
Mm-hmm.
Nature may just hold the key to our happiness as individuals and as a species. So what you're looking at right here on this slide is journals, companies, books, blogs, and organizations, all from which I've acquired knowledge and inspiration on this exact topic that we're talking about right now. And every single one of these talks about the benefits of connecting with nature.
I heard of MoveNat like years ago. I think that's really, really cool. It kind of coincided with CrossFit because I was involved in CrossFit and paleo and all that. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah, MoveNat is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay with everyone, I'd like to delve a little bit deeper into a couple of these examples.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's start with Richard Louv. Richard Louv is the author of Last Child in the Woods, which he published in 2005. And this book started the Back to Nature movement for a lot of people. And it was in this book that Mr. Louv coined the term nature deficit disorder, which he describes as the human costs of alienation from nature. Costs like diminished use of our senses, attention difficulties, and higher rates of physical and emotional illness.
Sorry, I'm just like, see?
There's more.
Okay, sorry.
All right. Okay, so Last Child in the Woods is a mixture of his personal experiences as well as professional research from countless sources showing the effects on children that this nature can have. The next book, The Nature Principle, exposes the effects on adults. Because if you're gonna have children, you gotta have the adult effect as well. And lastly, Vitamin N is the dream project list to ensure you never run out of things to do. It's a fantastic book. And after publishing all three of these books, I think after just Last Child in the Woods, just the first book, Mr. Louv and some friends co-founded a nonprofit organization, the Children in Nature Network, that you see at the top. And they continue to fuel the movement of reconnecting children, families, and communities to nature. And they're doing a pretty fantastic job at it. In 2014 alone, they helped 369 grassroots campaigns from 48 states, 12 countries around the world, and they've connected 3.5 million children to nature.
3.5 million people, children?
In 2014 alone.
Wow.
That's a pretty massive grassroots movement.
Totally. Absolutely. That's amazing.
All right, so I got some of my favorite quotes from the book for you.
Okay.
So, and these ones are my favorite because I want to express just how much this idea of Last Child in the Woods and the research that they highlight and how non-new this idea is.
Yeah.
Just how long this has been going on in certain circles.
Okay.
So as much as, for as long as 2,000 years ago, Chinese Toys, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Toys, created gardens and greenhouses they believe were beneficial for health. 2,000 years ago. And in 1600, there was a book called English Gardener was published, and it advised its readers to spend their spare time in the garden because there was no better way to preserve your health.
Their health?
Their health. No better way to preserve your health than by spending time in your garden.
No kidding.
Yeah. As far back as 1600.
I had a life coach once, and this was like one of my first life coaches, and she told me a story of how her and her friend literally like stripped down to their underwear and just laid there in the grass and soaked their feet in the mud and whatever else because it's so freaking healing.
Well, what baby doesn't want to be diaper free running in outside, right?
Yep. When I was a kid,
babies.
I might be aging myself now, but when I was a kid, we never wore shoes. Always ran on the gravel barefoot. I was always out barefoot. Well, a couple years ago, I told my kids, take your shoes off. Go play outside in the backyard without shoes. They thought I was nuts. But I'm like, seriously, you need to play barefoot for as much as you can.
I don't know if that's an age thing, because I remember doing that too.
Okay, cool.
My parents had a cabin on the lake, and we never wore shoes there.
Yeah, okay.
So.
Okay. Well, maybe you're old too. I'm just joking.
Old soul.
I'm sorry. Okay, continue.
All right, okay. So we got 1600. Now, Dr. Benjamin Rush, he's a mental health pioneer who actually signed the Declaration of Independence. And he has been quoted to have said that digging in the soil has a curative effect on the mentally ill.
See, that's cool.
Yeah, a signer.
See, this isn't new, people. This has been going on forever.
Declaration of Independence. And even in 1870, the Quakers Friends Hospital in Pennsylvania used acres of natural landscape and greenhouses as part of their treatment for mental illness.
Wow.
And even during World War II, psychiatry pioneer Carl Menninger, he led a horticulture therapy movement in the Veterans Administration hospital system. This is not new. This has been going on for a long time.
Wow.
I promise I'm not making it up.
No, yeah, I get it.
All these people said it too.
All
right, let's move forward a little bit. So these are still some things that I learned from Mr. Louvre in his Last Child in the Woods, but a little bit newer now.
Okay.
So there was a study done in the Netherlands, and they compared for how often and for how long children played outside in the 50s and 60s, and then compared that to their counterparts in the 21st century. And what they found was that children are not playing outside as often or for as long as 60 years ago. They also don't explore as far as they used to, and they have fewer, less diverse playmates. That last part really blew me away. Not exploring as far seems to correlate with having fewer, less diverse playmates.
Yep. Yeah, that's interesting. Not playing as far, well, that could be a combination of like, oh my gosh, I'm worried. They shouldn't do that. They shouldn't do that. We have a lot more boundaries on our kids now than we did, right?
Absolutely.
And plus frick screen time.
Yeah, so keep that. We have more boundaries on our kids. Keep that in mind for I have another slide coming up.
Okay.
Okay. So we also have a similar study, just like the one in the Netherlands, that they did in the States. And it was done at the University of Maryland. Looking at very similar things, but they found as much as a 50% reduction in unstructured outdoor play. Things like hiking, walking, fishing, playing at the beach, gardening.
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, free time just in itself has decreased by 9 hours a week just in the last 25 years.
I'm sorry, repeat that.
So in the last 25 years in the United States, free time for children has decreased by 9 hours a week.
Free time.
Free time. Just free time in general, not even outdoor unstructured playtime, just free time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
James Salas, he's a program director for the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, very large organization. And he studies things like parks, recreation centers, streets, and homes. And he's trying to figure out why some children and adults are more active than others.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the major conclusions he's come up with is that we can definitely say that the best predictor of preschool children's physical activity is simply being outdoors.
Mm.
And an indoor sedentary lifestyle in childhood is linked to mental health problems.
Wow. I mean, you should start with that statement. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a direct scientific link between indoor sedentary childhood, mental health problems, and simply going outside is a reversal of that sedentary lifestyle.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Hence the forest school happening September 2017. Right?
Gotta get your kids in it.
Yep.
Gotta get them young.
Yeah, exactly. Right? That's where they download everything. That's where they learn everything.
Yeah. I got one more. It's gonna blow your mind.
Okay.
All right. So again, from Last Child in the Woods, and exposure to nature in primary urban areas can alter behavior. Some studies have even gone as far as showing that there's a relationship between the absence or inaccessibility of parks and open spaces with increased crime rates in cities.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what? Putting it all together in my mind.
Increased crime rates.
Wow.
To inaccessibility of green open spaces in urban areas.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. This incredible body of research is growing. And as it grows, it just becomes so much more obvious to anyone who's paying attention that nature is essential for physical and emotional health. And that time in nature it's been shown everything even for a child's cognitive ability. And it increases their resistance to stress, depression, and can even ease ADHD symptoms.
Ha 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 ha. That I know. From working outside in nature with kids. Absolutely.
Yeah, very powerful stuff.
Wow. What's this?
This is a research project by environmental psychologists at Cornell University back in 2003. They reported that a room with a view of nature can help protect children against stress. And that nature just being in or around the home appears to be a significant factor in protecting the psychological well-being of children, even in rural areas.
Wow.
This study found that life's stressful events appear not to cause as much psychological distress in children who live in high nature conditions compared to other children who live in low nature conditions.
Okay. I'm getting my questions ready.
All right. This protective impact of nearby nature is strongest for our most vulnerable children. Those experience highest levels of stressful events. Not a weak effect. This is correlated with high stress, most vulnerable children, strongest effects.
Makes sense.
Absolutely. All
Makes
right.
sense.
So everyone remembers those participation commercials. Now I'm aging myself here. So there's those 90s commercials on TV. They had that really fun little jingle like keep fit and have fun.
Is that kind of like Body Break?
I think it was
Do
the
you
same.
remember Body Break?
Is that the same thing? That was
Break. I don't know.
Sal something and Joanne or whatever.
Yeah, and we didn't know if they were ever married.
I thought they were.
I thought they were too, but I didn't know for sure.
I don't know if they actually were. But anyway, okay. So those commercials are not on TV anymore, but the company that made them still exists.
Okay.
So Participation is still around. And today they are a Canada-wide nonprofit. Their vision is to see physical activity be a vital part of all Canadians' lives. And in 2015, Participation, along with the Healthy Active Living and Obesity Research Group at the Children's Hospital, whose cute little logo you see in the bottom left there, they got together with about 12 other organizations and at least 1,600 stakeholders from across Canada and all around the world, and they took a stand on nature and outdoor play for the first time. They did that by releasing the Participation annual report card on physical activity for children and youth. Do you know what it was titled?
What?
The biggest risk is keeping kids indoors.
That's a pun.
Direct quote from the report card. Access to active play in nature and outdoors with its risks is essential for healthy child development. They recommend excuse me, increasing children's opportunities for self-directed play outdoors in all settings, at home, at school, in their childcare, the community, and nature.
Yep. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, you know, if a Canada-wide nonprofit takes a stand on it, they've done their research.
There you go.
Not to mention a children's hospital. They're not just going to throw their weight around willy-nilly.
Absolutely.
Neither is the Journal of Clinical Nursing. And they acknowledge that we need to reflect on our understanding of a person's well-being. So the Journal of Clinical Nursing did a study of how patients respond to living in the environment of a hospital intensive care ward. Now, obviously, if we're talking about patients living in intensive care, we're talking about very sick people who are counting on the hospital and its staff purely for survival. But what this study found was that the environment of an intensive care unit may be damaging, detrimental to a patient's recovery. So they looked at things like constant noise, there's footsteps echoing up and down the halls, you have all these machines beeping all the time. There's a reliance on almost purely artificial light. And if you live in a multi-patient room, there's a severe lack of privacy. All of
Yep.
these things combined, yeah, right? Like that's pretty regular picture of a hospital bed.
Yeah, my grandmother's in a rehabilitation center right now, and she shares with two other women, and all you hear is beeping. And I sit there and I look around and I just think, where's the beautiful classical music? Where's the plants? Where, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
something.
yeah, it's not the most comfortable place to live.
Yeah,
But you're supposed to be focused on getting better, right?
yeah,
Beauty isn't their top priority. And that would seem to be okay.
mm-hmm.
You're getting the medicine, you should get better, you'll go home, it'll be beautiful there.
Mm-hmm.
But all of these things, when they studied them and they looked at them together, they found that they were increasing stress. And when they looked at nature-based interventions, they found that these interventions were demonstrated to improve patient outcomes by softening the environment of the ICU. So pretty incredible. They found people went home faster, they required less pain medication, they were more easily weaned off of their mechanical ventilation, and they experienced less delirium.
So how can, like, just a question. So I have a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
So how can we bring, number one, nature into our home, or is that something that you're getting to? Like, I'm curious, how can we bring nature into our home? And like I was saying for my grandmother, she's in a rehabilitation center. There's none of that. How can I make that, how can I bring that to her?
Actually, it can be really simple. It doesn't have to be a huge thing.
Okay.
So some of the interventions that they looked at specifically for this research project was positioning the patient's view to see the outside world. So even if your grandmother can't get out of bed, you can move her bed to an outside window. That will help.
Okay.
Allow access to early morning light to help set her natural circadian rhythm. That'll help with delirium.
Okay.
Ask the nurses to control the artificial light to ensure a period of day and nighttime.
Okay.
Another great thing is you can play a nature-based soundtrack. Birds singing, maybe some waterfalls, some rainforest soundtracks. Super relaxing.
I love it.
They encouraged family members to provide photos of the outside world. So things you're going to look at and associate with memories of being outdoors and being in different environments.
That's huge. That's amazing.
Yeah. And if your grandmother's mobile, take her outside on a nice day to a hospital garden, a courtyard, let her get some fresh air.
We're in Winnipeg.
We're in winter. More of a summer thing. But for the winter time, hanging or projecting pictures of nature on her walls or on her ceiling above her bed, that can help a lot too.
Okay. That is helpful, Morgan. I'm so glad I asked you.
Just these tiny little things can, especially for, our most vulnerable people who really need it to get better.
Good. Okay. Perfect. I will let you continue.
We got another hospital one here.
Okay.
This one's from Howard Frumkin. He's an MD at the Emory University School of Public Health. And he published an article in American Journal of Preventive Medicine stating that even though there are really a lot of sources of evidence showing increased recovery times for people exposed to plants or nature.
Oops, sorry.
He still deems this to be a very overlooked field in modern medicine. And another reference that, for example, that he made reference to that I want to point out right now is there's a 10-year study of gallbladder surgery patients. And some of these patients after surgery were to recover in a room facing a grove of trees. Obviously,
Oh, facing what?
A grove of trees. So they had
Okay.
a view of nature or green space, basically, from their hospital room, while their counterparts had same surgeries. You know, this is a 10-year study, thousands of patients. And instead of having a window facing trees and green space, they had a window facing a brick wall.
Yeesh.
Other than that, exact same surgery, exact same care. The result was that the patients who simply had a view of nature went home faster.
Mm-hmm.
Over 10 years of research and showing that.
10 years.
10
Does it
years.
say how much faster?
I'm not sure exactly how much. Of course, because when you're looking at thousands of different people, there'd be variety, and some of that would be based on how far along they were in their gallbladder issues, age, you know, demographics, things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I get it.
it would depend, but it was a significant amount.
That's amazing.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
So by now people are kind of probably starting to wonder, I'm sure, if this is causative or correlative. I know if you're like me and you have a science background, you're taught to question everything.
Right.
So that's why I really love this next study, which is from 2014, so it's pretty much new, and it was published in Environment and Behavior. And so they wanted to look at this question. The scientific way of putting it is looking at nature relatedness and happiness, and if that's independent of a generally connected personality. So basically what that means is that they wanted to know, is it nature's fault that these people are happy? That they have this happiness benefit. So they tested this specifically. And what the research showed was that nature relatedness, so basically be having an emotional connection to nature, has a distinct happiness benefit. Independent of all your feelings of connectivity to your family, friends, culture, country, music, and your home. That means that nature, specifically this emotional, spiritual connection to nature, was shown to make people happy rather than the reverse of happy, emotionally connected people also just enjoying nature. They were actually able to look at it and prove that they're happy because they're in nature, not they're in nature because they're happy.
Yeah, I get it.
Sense?
Absolutely, it does.
That's a big deal if you're someone like me and you're kind of naturally skeptical.
Yeah. Yeah. So for everybody out there who's experiencing anxiety, depression, or anything like that, connecting yourself with nature is automatically just going to be beneficial.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Having that emotional connection with nature is absolute key.
Okay. Perfect.
This handsome dude right here. Moving on.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. Let them eat dirt, huh?
Let them eat dirt. Yeah, this guy here, he's a professor of microbiology at the University of British Columbia. And
Okay.
who authored this book, Let Them Eat Dirt, and Saving Your Child from an Over-Sanitized World. His name is B. Brett Finley, by the way. And he brings to light research about the importance of exposing children to environments that harbor beneficial microbes. That's his research about that. So, and he's saying that being exposed to a variety of different microbes and bacteria from a young age trains our immune system and helps it develop normally. So that's why we get things like lower numbers of asthma in children who grew up on farms. But it's not just asthma. It's allergies in general. It's stress, anxiety, depression, type 2 diabetes, autism, and obesity have all been linked to a lack of healthy microbe exposure.
That's crazy.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that's crazy.
It is. This exposure we're just talking about partially from the environments children play in. So,
Well, think about it, like
yards, sandboxes, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, we all evolved in nature.
Exactly. And your body still thinks that you're evolving in nature.
Yeah.
And it needs that nature to develop properly.
Yep.
So
agreed.
I actually heard about this guy in a CBC interview, and he had a really good point about, hand sanitizers and over sanitizing and keeping your kids out of the dirt. It's not doing the benefit that you maybe think it is.
Yep. No, I agree.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
I don't think my kids have only used hand sanitizer if they were asked to in school. Never owned a bottle.
Yeah, I don't have
Get dirty, have fun.
All right. And if we haven't reached it for you yet. In 2005, there was a study by the American Institute for Research, and they found that kids who learn in an outdoor classroom, much like the one coming to Winnipeg in September,
right,
these children have an improved science score by 27%.
And that's like 12 years ago.
2005.
What's that?
Yeah, 2005.
That's not like a new study. That's 12-year-old study. Yeah, like this isn't new, right?
Yeah, this is not at all caused by some sort of forest school fad.
Yeah, right?
Long before forest schools came to Canada.
There you go. I think it was 2012 the first forest school was here.
Yeah, so quite a bit before then.
Yeah, still. What else you got, Morgan? I love this.
All right. So let's recap. So far, we've talked about this whole nature healing thing has been going on for a really long time. We know it's responsible for increased happiness. We've talked about how it bolsters immune systems, how it promotes physical activity or a physically active lifestyle, and how it makes stressful living environments more tolerable. And so you might be wondering, though, how? How could this nature, something you take for granted almost every day, how could this turn out to be so important for mental health? My reasoning is that it goes back to our basic biology. We're back to this biophilia hypothesis.
Okay.
So we evolved from nature, like you just said.
Yeah.
The same way every other creature on this planet did. And though we often like to think of humans as being on our own, that we're above biology or that there's this human world and then there's this natural world somewhere else. But 96% of our DNA, that's identical to our chimp cousins, really disagrees with that theory. So let's go back, way back, and talk about evolution just for a little bit.
I'm in. Yeah.
Just to talk about how incredibly slow it is. Our ancestors started out in Eastern Africa, somewhere. And over a period of like 180,000 years, they managed to cross the Bering Land Bridge and start populating North America. But we're talking 180,000 years to get from one continent to the other.
Mm-hmm.
That is the speed of nature. Nowadays, if you want to get from here to Africa, you can be there by the end of the day. So we've gone from...
Is that your phone? I'm just kidding.
No. Silence that sucker.
That's funny.
Not the speed of nature, right there. Communication.
And if somebody wanted to talk to you, so 100 okay, wait. I think I misunderstood something.
Okay.
It took somebody 180. Okay, say that again.
It took our ancestors 180,000 years to move from our origin in Eastern Africa to a population across the Bering Land Bridge to North America.
Crazy.
Right? So that's a very, very, very long time. As a lot of evolution happened, a lot of change, a lot of generations went by.
Okay.
And nowadays, if you want to make that a trip of the same distance, you just hop on a plane and you get over there.
Yep.
You got like, what, 24 hours you can be in Africa?
Mm-hmm.
Compared to 180,000 years?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's nuts.
It's nuts. And it's this huge difference between human engineering and biological evolution. And I bring this example up just to show how far we've distanced ourselves from this natural time, this natural speed of time.
I get it.
So
that's a powerful example.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for the vast majority of our existence as a species, we were constrained by that natural time. Mm-hmm. Just the same way that every other species on the planet still is, for the most part.
Right.
And so before this time, our lives were very much in tune with nature and victim to it a little bit. But
man, we had dirt floors, right?
Dirt floors, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've watched Little House on the Prairie.
I've heard my grandpa's stories. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad walked 12 miles and 8 feet of snow.
Uphill both ways. Yeah.
Yep.
And this was true for everyone, mm-hmm. right up until we hit the Industrial Revolution.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Your Chinese guy, you walked your butt everywhere you wanted to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe if you're really lucky, some people had a horse and buggy in the last couple hundred years, but
mm-hmm.
But we all lived in the country. We all grew up on small family farms. We grew our own food. We made our own clothes from whatever we could find. We got up and we went to bed with the rising and setting of the sun.
Oh yeah,
that's as in tune with nature as you can get.
I mean, that light, I've done a ton, like way back in the day, that was part of my holistic study, right? And it shows, I listened to many doctors talk about, I wish I could remember her name. She's the author of the books Lights Out. And she talked specifically about how our bodies did not evolve for computer light, TV light, the light bulbs, right? So it really affects our bodies and the chemicals, the natural chemicals and everything that our body produces, and just for healing purposes. So literally, when the sun goes down, it's time for bed. When the sun comes up, it's time to get up and go to work or do whatever you got to do. But now everything's so artificial, and it's really, really affecting our immune systems.
Yeah, socially we understand what's going on, but biologically our body is very confused.
Very. Yeah, I just get that book, Lights Out. I just looked at the time, Morgan. We got like 9 minutes left.
Okay. So we're going to have to skip a couple of slides. All right, so basically, but we've already kind of got the point I wanted to get across about things about how biologically our bodies are very confused. We're living right with nature, and then all of a sudden, 160 years ago, the Industrial Revolution hit, and things have really changed. Like just bam, 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 bam. Our society has changed so much. And now, socially, we've changed a lot. Culturally, we've changed a lot. But biologically, our bodies haven't changed. And this is causing a major problem for us. And it's causing so much of a problem that the human life expectancy is actually starting to drop.
Wow.
This generation of children will be the first since World War II to not outlive their parents.
Wow.
The average American is 20 pounds heavier than they were in the 1960s. Just like you said, we're not designed to sit in front of a computer all day.
Yep.
Childhood obesity rate is tripling. It's quadrupling for teens. We're spending so much time in front of a screen, especially young children.
Wow.
And it's affecting
7.5 hours every day?
Yeah, that's as much as like a 9-to-5 job for children.
That's crazy. And you know what? It's not far off.
Nope, not at all. So I don't think it has to be this way. I think that now that we understand the problem, we know what's happening, we know what's going on, we understand why it's happening, we can take control and we can step back into lives that are integrated with nature and regain our health. So in my personal experience, I am at my happiest when I have had my nature fix. So that's why I created the Nature Essence program and why I want to share it with everyone. Because I've taken everything in my 26 years of existence about health, happiness, depression, mental clarity, and I've laid it all out right here in this 6 steps.
Nice.
So I'm going to kind of skip over that, what exactly the steps are just for time. But if people want to know more, please contact me. I'd love to share more about the details, about what it is, what it entails, how it can help you, all that good stuff.
So your program is specifically designed to help people get through anxiety and depression naturally.
Exactly. It's designed to help us work with our natural biology more.
There you go. I love it.
Not in a mud house, horse and buggy kind of way, but in a way that works for the 21st century, in a way that works for you and your lifestyle, but just with some knowledge about why your body isn't so happy right now.
Yeah. I think that that's extremely powerful. And yeah, are you able to switch back? I just wanted to have a conversation with you for a minute. So everybody here, go check out Morgan's website, www.natureessence.org, NatureEssence.org, natureessence.org. And what kind of freebies are you giving everybody?
Yes, okay, freebies. Thank you for reminding me. For everyone that's here right now, I have a nature deficiency quiz that I made just for you. For anyone who sends me an email and says that they watched this webinar, I will send that to you. It's a printout. It's a fun little quiz you can do by yourself to help give you an idea of maybe how nature deficient you really are. As well, anyone who wants to talk more about nature steps, biophilia hypothesis, and the nature program, I'm going to be offering a free 1-hour consultation or preliminary call with anyone who wants to talk one-on-one about what the program is.
So that's a free call to anybody who's interested in healing their anxiety and depression alternatively through nature. Hop on a call. It's a free 60-minute call with Morgan. I mean, it can't go bad, right? The worst thing that's going to happen is that you're going to walk out with information, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the worst thing's going to happen is you're going to walk out with a couple of great tips and ways to help set your life on the right track.
I totally enjoyed this. And you know what? We have a couple minutes left and I'm going to use it on specifically a video that you created and posted to your YouTube channel. And many people watched it and had feedback on it because it was so authentic and so vulnerable. But here's the thing. You mentioned earlier on in this presentation that grief, where did I write it down? Grief and loss is also, this program is designed for grief and loss as well, right?
Absolutely.
And do you want to just take a minute and share a little bit about what that video was about?
You mean the Facebook Live I did this?
Yeah, you know, your experience with loss.
Yeah, so obviously depression can be triggered by a traumatic event, and that's the case for me. Like I mentioned before, my depression was kind of triggered by a breakup in university, and this essentially for me was a catastrophic loss of the individual that I thought was the one who loved me more than anything and the one who understood me. And I felt when I lost that relationship, I felt like I'd lost the reason to live. And because this one person didn't love me, how could anyone else ever love me? And it's just because of my connection with nature and my understanding of how the brain works now and psychology and building these new mental tips and strategies that I've been able to overcome that and become more of a strong, independent, self-resilient person.
There you go. Beautifully put. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So where can they find your YouTube channel?
If you type in Morgan Zaretski into YouTube, I come up.
Okay, that's perfect. And Morgan Zaretski is, do you want to type in your full name?
Yes. It sounds scary, but it's phonetical.
Zaretski.
Yes. Morgan Zaretski into
there you
YouTube, go. Or Nature Essence Personal Wellness Coaching is my Facebook page.
Amazing. Oh, and one more thing before we let you go. Where are you presenting this summer?
I am going to be at the IM Festival in August. I'm going to be hosting a wellness camp there. So for anyone going there, keep your eye out for me. And I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be giving away there yet, but it might be some free coaching. So
nice. So get
we
on
will,
her.
yeah.
And also, so you guys check her out. Where are we? natureessence.org. Get your free nature quiz or nature deficiency quiz.
Yeah.
This is also a signature talk that Morgan puts on. Here, let me just put down. She puts it down. This is also a signature talk that Morgan Zaretski puts on, and it's really, really powerful for anybody out there who is nature-based, maybe forest schools, maybe museums, and anywhere else, maybe your classroom, maybe for your educators, whatever the case is. This is a really powerful lesson for everybody out there, why it's so essential. We got to get these kids outdoors. We need to get adults outdoors. We need to get everybody outdoors, really. And this is a really, really powerful signature talk that Morgan offers. And Morgan's also going to be offering a signature talk live in person. We just haven't nailed down the date yet for all of the parents who have decided to register their kids for the Empowering Kids Forest School happening in September 2017. So watch for that. Yeah, so really powerful. Thanks for being on here, Morgan. Thank you for sharing all of your freaking brilliant knowledge. I know that a lot of people are going to find a lot of use out of this. So thank you so much.
Yes. Like and share it, everyone. Help me get the message out.
Yes, and go like her YouTube channel. Okay, my dear. Take care.
All right. Thank you so much, Tanya. Bye, everyone.
Bye.